Everyone knew. And I just want you to notice the Montgomery County schools are here, and look at the cheese bus that they drove. Sorry, Montgomery. Good job with the Mercedes. The Bronx knows how to travel. White House coming up on the left. What's up? Oh, that's the Department of Commerce. Money. This left.
Something we don't have. Oh my God. The economy's in turmoil.
Here it comes, White House. Oh no, on the left. Oh, there it is. There's the National Theater, the United States National Theater over there. Chicago's playing there, the play Chicago. I still think we have the nicest bus in Washington right now.
There's no writing on the side.
And the best looking chaperones.
Miss Astor's the best looking. Thank you, my darling.
I love you, Miss Astor.
Chris is a brown nose.
Excuse me?
Chris, you need a towel for your nose? There's something on your nose.
Say hi to the camera, Christopher. All right, and that's people over there. That's people. And this is Ava Marie. Hello, this is Ada. Oh, that's the crazy evil cookie. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the camera.
Bye. Hi, camera. 5 minutes.
Stop acting stupid, Avery. I'm gonna take you.
I'm gonna tape you in your face.
And that's the back of the bus.
That's what a black people say. Hey.
Still walking to Arlington Cemetery. Well, we in it, but we're walking up this big hill. Yup. Who are you? Say your name. Go to, say your name. Seriously, no, be serious. This is go to at the Master Hoover. What high school you going to? Truman. You serious? Oh, what high school you going to? Seriously?
No, I think I'm bad.
These are all the like insights. Like, you see all these people, like it gets you. Alright. Okay, so we caught up with the group. This is basically everybody from 803 and 804. What's your name?
Tiana.
What school are you going to?
For the arts.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And you're a senior? Huh?
There were taxes due on this property, the same as everybody pays property taxes today. They paid them in the The difference was that because this had originally been part of the L'Enfant plan for Washington, remember that diamond-shaped plan? These people in this area paid their taxes over in Washington. And in those days, the landowner had to pay them in person, in cash. Mrs. Lee owed $97.02 in property taxes for this whole 2,000 acres. Now, that seems to be reasonable. But she didn't want to go into Washington and the government foreclosed on this land for non-payment of property taxes. Mariana and Robert E. Lee's son sued the federal government for return of the property, for wrongful taking, and he asked for the return of the property, which he didn't really want because by then it was a cemetery. He lost. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they settled before the Supreme Court decided it. The government paid him $150,000. We now have a 620-acre cemetery. What happened to the other acres? Well, over by the Iwo Jima Memorial, we'll go through land that actually had been carved out of the plantation before the Lees left and before the war even started. They had set up a separate village and they had deeded over the land to the residents of that village. It was called a freedman's village. And they were former slaves who had been freed. Mrs. Lee ran a school on this plantation, and all of the kids here had to go to school. Their plan was to gradually, everybody should be free. And so with that, as people grew and they became more capable of fending for themselves because they had been denied education for so long, they were free, given they had to carry papers in those days. And most of them went to live in the freedmen's villages where there were schools and churches. Everybody had a house and a garden, streets. And now part of that is also the town of Bronson. Okay, you ready to walk a little further? Yes. Hello, we're now walking up the Grand
which are in season now.
That's my social studies and literacy teacher. I got a good grade.
Yes, you did.
Yay. And these are the these are the cherry blossoms, and that was Tiana.
Question in the back? I would say men because it isn't until lately that women have really made a career out of the armed services. So I would say men. However, when the Army did that, when they started putting more than one person in grade, they also put some qualifications for burial here. Not just anybody who's been in the armed services can be buried here. Anybody who's killed in battle can be buried here at Arlington Cemetery. Anyone who has been awarded a medal, from the Prisoner of War Medal right on up through the Medal of Honor. Anyone who has served his or her full career and retired with full benefits can be buried here. Any justice of the Supreme Court, past or present, cabinet members, past or present, certain high-level government officials can be buried here. They have to be at a pay grade of E3 and above. President's at E2, so there aren't too many. And then the spouses and the dependent children of anyone qualified for burial. Other than that, it is by presidential request. And if you look back down there at that beautiful equestrian monument, that person was requested by Franklin Roosevelt when he was president. He's not even American. So they requested that he be buried here in the United States. Franklin Roosevelt requested that he be buried here at Arlington Cemetery. The Army chose that spot for him. Franklin Roosevelt didn't choose it. And the family provided that beautiful equestrian statue. It's one of only 2 equestrian monuments in the whole cemetery. Yes?
If a soldier won a foreign medal, does he still qualify to be buried here?
If a soldier won a foreign medal, I don't know the answer to that. I think it would probably depend on who wore it, who awarded it, and what it was. But I don't know. Okay.
And we're at another historic site.
During World War I, which was a land war, it was an army war, there were so many Americans killed in just France that France had to open 4 new American cemeteries. Many of those who died were never identified. Remember, this was the 19-teens, 1918, 1917. There was no DNA testing. There was no fingerprinting. Not very many dental records. They didn't even wear dog tags. So, unless somebody recognized a face or there was something on the body that identified them, who knew? So the Army felt that it was wrong that those who had given the ultimate sacrifice, who had laid down their lives for their allies, should be buried with the ultimate indignity of no name on a grave. So they felt they couldn't honor them all, but in order to honor them all, they would honor one. So they went to each of these 4 new graves, and they dug up one body in each grave, in each cemetery. Excuse me. Each body was placed in an identical white casket, and they were all brought to a small town outside of Paris. From those 4 identical caskets, one was chosen at random. We don't know which cemetery he came from. We don't know anything else about him except he died in France, male, Army. That's it. The other 3 were reburied in France. And the unknown soldier was brought here. He laid in state in the rotunda of the Capitol for 3 days. And then on November 11th, 1921, he was buried here at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. Full military honors means the whole parade through Washington and across the bridge, the brass bands, all of the honor guard, the whole, just like President Ford, United States Party. It was the whole thing. He's buried what is called a sarcophagus. Big marble box, and it is inscribed, "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known as God." So after World War II in Korea, there were more people who died being unidentified, and they too were brought here and buried on either side in the front. They were buried below ground under the terrace. And then finally, after the Vietnam War, which ended in 1975, it wasn't until 1984, because by then we had DNA testing, fingerprinting, all sorts of help. It wasn't until 1984 that they really could not identify someone. And so he was brought here, and he was laid to rest with full military honors to honor all those who had given their lives, and all those who were still missing in action in Vietnam, because there were a lot of people. But that story doesn't end with his burial, because there was a family in St. Louis, Missouri, who had a son who was missing in action in Vietnam. And so they read about this unknown soldier with great fascination. And the more they read and the more they learned, the more they came to believe that this was their son. And young man. He's enlisted. He's a private in the 3rd Infantry Regiment of the United States Army. He's dressed in full dress blues. He carries an M8, I think it is, rifle. It's a World War II vintage rifle. Maybe you guys know better than I do. It is not loaded. It is affixed with a bayonet. The bayonet is real. He takes 21 paces across the mat. He will make a quarter turn. He'll wait 21 seconds. He'll complete his turn. He will move the rifle to the shoulder away from the tomb, and he will take 21 paces back. And if you think that is easy to do for an hour at a time, try it. You lose count, you daydream, These guys have self-discipline. It is the highest honor any enlisted person in the services can be given, to be chosen for the Tomb Guard. They volunteer for it from any of the branches of service. They have to have a perfect record. They have 0 demerits, none. They have to be physically between 5 feet 10 and 6 feet 2 inches tall, which is why there are fewer women guards. 5 feet 10 is pretty tall for a woman. They have to be clean spoken and clean living, and be willing to sign a pledge to remain so for the rest of their lives, which doesn't mean they can never have a beer at a football game. It does mean they do nothing in public to embarrass the service. If they are chosen from this pool of volunteers, they come here, they study for 6 months to prepare, and then they serve for 18 months as a guard. When their time is finished, they cannot re-up for this duty. They must go back to their original unit. All right, let's go in there. We've got about 5 minutes before the next changing occurs. And let's see how good a seat we can.
United States Army, Call of Order, Turtle, Vietnam, Silver. Last ceremony, check up to this. Is the changing of the call. Keep it updated with this service. The requested effort remain solid and steady. Thank you.
This is the White House. Yes, we did visit the White House. We are special.
All the way in, please. All the way in. Everybody come all the way over. I have some space on this side. Ladies in the doorway, come all the way in. Ladies in the doorway. On the other side of my tower steps. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the Capitol. My name is Michael. I am your guide. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. We are actually in the legislative branch of our government. This is a building that makes the laws for the United States of America. Now, the building was constructed in 3 parts. We're standing in the 3rd part. Sorry. In 1800, when Congress moved in from Philadelphia, only the north portion of the building was complete. The House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the District Courts, and the Library of Congress occupied the north end of the building. Now it's just the Senate. In the Senate, there are 100 members, 2 per state. In 1807, the House of Representatives moved again to their 2nd place of meeting. Right through their doorway is the House of Representatives. They moved to National Statuary Hall. According by population, California being the largest populated state. 440 members in the House of Representatives. 5 out of the 440 do not have a vote in Congress. California being the largest populated state. Now, you are from New York. Yes. One of the other larger states that we have. Huh? Texas? Okay. And
we went to the Holocaust Museum. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot of facts about stuff that happened during that time period. So it was good.
And would you come back to Washington?
It depends. If it's something else that I didn't get to see, I will come back. But we saw a lot of things, so it was worth our money, and the trip was good.
All right, thank you.